Hey guys, and welcome back to my reading journey. Thank you for joining me today to the next video, and we are continuing with the second part of the Sleuths. So I started this story yesterday, and we are beginning. All right. Mix rid himself of the city detective at once. On the next day, someone advised him to consult Shamrock Jones, New York's famous private detective, who demanded fabulous fees, but performed miracles in the way of solving mysteries and crimes. After waiting for 2 hours in the anteroom, no idea what's the room is this one, of the great detective's apartment, anteroom, Mix was shown into his presence. Jones sat in a purple dressing gown at an inlaid ivory chess table. Inlaid ivory. I don't know both words. Inlaid ivory chess table with the magazine before him, trying to solve the mystery of the famous Sleuths thing, intellectual face, piercing eyes, and rate per word are too well known to need description. Mix set forth his errand. My fee is successful. Will be 500, said Shamrock Jones. Shamrock Sham Holmes. All right. Mix bowed his agreement to the price. I will undertake your case, Mr. Mix, said Jones. Finally, this disappearance of people in this city has always been an interesting problem to me. I remember a case that I brought to a successful outcome a year ago. A family bearing the name of Clark disappeared suddenly from a small flat in which they were living. I watched the flat building for 2 months for a clue. One day it forget the meaning. Line. I didn't know the meaning. One day it struck me that a certain milkman and grocer's boy always walked backwards when they carried their wares upstairs. Following out by introduction the idea that this observation gave me, I at once located the missing family. They had moved into the flat across the hall and changed their name to Clark. Starts with K, not C. Shamrock Jones and his client went to the tenement house where Mary Shamrock Jones and his client went to the tenement house where Mary Slander had lived, and the detective demanded to be shown the room in which she had lived. It had been occupied by no tenant since her disappearance. The room was small, dingy, and poorly furnished. Mixed seating himself dejectedly on a broken chair, while the great detective searched the walls and floor and the few sticks of old rickety furniture for a clue. Rickety furniture. Right. At the end of the whole half an hour, Jones had collected a few seemingly unintelligible articles, a cheap black hat pin, a piece torn off, a theater programming, and the end of a small torn card, on which was the word left, and the characters C12. Shamrock Jones leaned against the mantel of 10 minutes for 10 minutes, with his head resting upon his hand, and an absorbed look upon his intellectual face. At the end of that time, he exclaimed with animation, "Come, Mr. Mix, the problem is solved. I can take you directly to the house where your sister is living, and you may have no fears concerning her welfare, for she is amply provided with funds, for the present at least." Mix felt joy and wonder in equal proportions. "How did you manage it?" he asked, with admiration in his tones. Perhaps Jones' only weakness was a professional pride in his wonderful achievements in introduction. He was ever ready to astound, and charm his listeners by describing his methods. By elimination, said Jones, spreading his clues upon a little table, "I get rid of certain parts of the city to which Mrs. Slender might have removed. You see this hatpin? This eliminates Brooklyn. No woman attempts to board a car at the Brooklyn Bridge without being sure that she carries a hatpin with which to fight her way into a seat. And now I will demonstrate to you that she could not have gone to Harlem. Behind this door are two hooks in the wall. Upon one of these, Mrs. Snyder, has hung her bonnet, and upon the other her shawl. You will observe that the bottom of the hanging shawl has gradually made a soiled streak against the plastered wall. The mark is clean cut, providing that there is no fringe on the shawl. What the shawl is? Please write. My dear subscribers, please write the meaning of the shawl word in the comments. Alright? Agreed. Thanks. Now, was there ever a case where a middle-aged woman wearing a shawl boarded a Harlem train without there being a fringe on the shawl to catch in the gate and delay the passengers behind her? So we eliminate Harlem. Therefore, I conclude that Mrs. Snyder has not moved very far away. On this torn piece of card you see the word left, the letter C, and the number 12. Now I happen to know that number 12 Avenue C is the first-class boarding house far beyond your sister's means, as we suppose. But then I find this piece of the theater program crumpled into an old shape. What meaning does it convey? It's such a frequent word, but I don't know the meaning. Not known to you very likely, Mr. Mix, but it is eloquent to one whose habits are training. Take cognizance of the smallest things. You have told me that your sister was a scrub woman. She scrubbed the floors of offices and hallways. Let us assume that she procured such work to perform in a theater. Where is valuable jewelry lost the oftenest, Mr. Mix? In the theaters, of course. Look at this piece of programming, Mr. Mix. Observe the round impression on it. It has been wrapped around a ring, perhaps a ring of great value. Mrs. Snyder found this ring while at work in the theater. She hastily tore off a piece of programming, wrapped the ring carefully, and thrust it into her bosom. The next day she disposed of it, and with her increased means looked about her for a more comfortable place in which to live. When I reach thus far and the chain, I see nothing impossible about number 12 Avenue C. It is there we will find your sister, Mr. Mix. Right, guys. We're gonna continue with the third part tomorrow. So I'm gonna say you goodbye. See you tomorrow. Thank you.